Good day, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about the rich, powerful, and diverse world of Afro-Asian literature, from the deserts of pre-Islamic Arabia to the mysticism of Indian hymns, the drama of Chinese theater, and the introspective beauty of Japanese fiction. We are going to explore it all. So, whether you are cramming for the board exam or just passionate about world literature, grab your notes, stay curious, and let's turn the page on this review together. Are you ready? If so, let's get started. We are first going to talk about the first item. What is the typical poem of Arabic literature during the pre-Islamic period? Letter A, Ode. Letter B, Elegy. Letter C, Ballad. And D, Sonnet. What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is Ode. So if your answer is letter A, that is correct. Because in pre-Islamic Arabic literature, the most common and revered form of poetry was a qasida, which is a type of a long ode. These odes were often performed orally and featured themes like tribal pride, bravery, and desert life. For example, of a famous poet of that time is Imru al-Qais, known for his qasidas about love and adventure. However, the elegy, it is a poem about mourning the dead, not typically used in the tribal celebrations of pre-Islamic Arabs. Letter C, it is like a more common in Western folk traditions and often tells a story through song. And letter D, the sonnet, it is a 14-line poem developed in Italy, not in Arabic literature, and it is unrelated to early Arabic poetry. Number 2, the film Rashomon is based on which of Akutagawa's work? Letter A, The Tale of the Heike. B, Kappa. C, The Sea of Fertility. And D, In the Grove. What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is In the Grove, letter D. Because Akira Kurosawa's film Rashomon adapts Akutagawa's short story In the Grove, which presents conflicting testimonies about a murder from different characters' perspective, like the bandit, the samurai's wife, and the ghost of the samurai, all offer different versions of what happened, highlighting the theme of subjective truth. However, letter A, B, and C are incorrect because The Tale of the Heike is a Japanese war epic not written by Akutagawa. Letter B, Kappa, is another story of Akutagawa, but it is a satire involving mythical creatures. And letter C, The Sea of Fertility, is a tetralogy by Yukio Mishima, which is very unrelated to Rashomon. Now, let us proceed to number 3. What is the term for the main male role in Chinese theater? We are looking for the main male role in Chinese theater. Letter A, Tao. Letter B, Chao. Letter C, Sheng. And letter D is Qing. What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter C, Sheng, which represents the leading male role in traditional Chinese opera. It is often a scholar, a statesman, or a warrior. However, letter A, Tao, and Chao are not recognized categories in Chinese opera. And letter D, Qing, it is referred to a painted face role, usually portraying powerful, bold characters, and they are often considered as the villains or warriors, and they are not the main male lead. Number 4, what is the pseudonym of Dampat Rai Srivastava? Letter A, Premchand. Letter B, Kamala Markandaya. C, R.K. Narayan. And D, Anita Desai. What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is letter A, Premchand. Premchand is the pen name of Dampat Rai Srivastava, a foundational writer in modern Hindi and Urdu literature. He wrote about rural poverty and social injustice. For example, in his story The Shroud, a father and son deal with the death of a family member with emotional and societal depth. However, Kamala Markandaya, letter B, wrote the nectar in a sieve, but it's her real name. Arki Narayan wrote the guide, also under his real name. Anita Desai wrote Clear Light of Day, and that is her actual name too. Number 5. What is the first work written in Hangul meaning Songs of the Dragons Flying to Heaven? Letter A, Yongbi Chionga, B, Jayusi, C, Gomosh Sinwa, and letter D, Joseon. What do you think is the correct answer? If your answer is letter A, that is correct, because it was composed in the 15th century during the Joseon dynasty as a way to celebrate the legitimacy of the new dynasty. For example, it praised the founders of the dynasty and supported Confucian values in Korea. However, letter B, C, and D are incorrect because letter B is a poetic form but not just the first Hangul work. Letter C, it is a collection of classical Korean tales written in classical Chinese. And letter D, the Joseon, it is the name of the dynasty, not a literary text. Number 6. What is the dominant literary device in Nadine Gordimer's novel Lying Days? Letter A, Stream of Consciousness, B, Bildungsroman, C, and Media Res, and letter D, Hamartia. What do you think is the correct answer? If your answer is letter B, Bildungsroman, that is correct. Because Bildungsroman is a literary genre focusing on the psychological and moral growth of the protagonist from youth to adulthood. In Lying Days, the protagonist Helen grows in awareness of South African society and apartheid. However, letter A, C, and D are incorrect because letter A, the stream of consciousness, is more associated with authors like James Joyce. In letter C, the en media res, it means starting in the middle of action, which Lying Days does not do. And lastly, Hamartia is a tragic flaw, which applies more to the tragic heroes than to Gordimer's realistic characters. Number 7. Who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1994 and represented post-World War II Japanese rebellion? Letter A, Yasunari Kawabata, B, Oe Kensaburo, C, Yosabuson, and letter D, Dazai Osamu. What do you think is the correct answer? If your answer is letter B, that is correct. Because his works explores themes of war trauma, peace, and personal struggle, especially as a father to a mentally disabled child. For example, his novels, A Personal Matter, deals with the burden and eventual acceptance of raising a disabled child. Letter A, Yasunari Kawabata won the Nobel Prize in 1968, but his themes were more aesthetic than rebellious. Letter C is incorrect because Yosabuson was a haiku poet, not a post-World War II novelist. And also letter D, Dazai Osamu, because he dealt with post-war angst but did not receive the Nobel Prize. Number 8. Which text is known as the hymns of supreme sacred knowledge in Indian literature? Letter A, Ramayana, B, Mahabharata, C, Dhammapada, and letter D, Rigveda. What do you think is the correct answer? If your answer is letter D, Rigveda, that is correct. Because the Rigveda is a sacred collection of Vedic Sanskrit hymns and it is considered the oldest text in Indian literature. It discusses cosmology, deities, and rituals. For example, one hymn to Agni, the fire god, speaks about the connection between gods and human through sacrifice. However, letter A, Ramayana and Mahabharata are epics with narrative structure, not hymn collections. And letter C, it is a Buddhist text, not part of the Vedas. Number 9, who translated the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam into English in 1859? Letter A, F. Scott Fitzgerald, B. Curel Bell, C. The Bostonian, and letter D. Edward Fitzgerald. What do you think is the correct answer? If your answer is letter D, that is correct, because he is the famous for his poetic translation of Omar Khayyam's Persian quatrains. His version made Khayyam's widely known in the West. For example, a loaf of bread, a jug of wine, and though. A famous line from his translation. It captures Khayyam's love of life and reflection. However, letter A, B, and C are incorrect because letter A, F. Scott Fitzgerald, is an American novelist and he is the author of The Great Gatsby. Letter B is Charlotte Bronte's pseudonym. And letter C, it isn't a person, it refers to a novel by Henry James. And for our last item, number 10, who is the Egyptian god of the underworld? Letter A, Isis, B, Osiris, C, Seth, and letter D, Nephthys. Who do you think is the Egyptian god of the underworld? If your answer is letter B, that is correct, because Osiris is the god of the afterlife, death, and resurrection in Egyptian mythology. He is also considered as a symbol of rebirth. And according to myth, Osiris was killed by his brother Seth and resurrected by his wife Isis. So letter A, C, and D are incorrect because letter A is a goddess of magic and motherhood, not of the underworld. However, Seth is the god of chaos who murdered Osiris, and letter D, Nephthys, is a protective goddess associated with mourning. And that's all. I hope this helps you understand each topic better. Good luck with your review and let's keep on learning.